So one of the most important truths that is related to the name Yahweh is this truth that the Lord Yahweh rules over all heaven and earth. And in some mysterious way, it's just bound up with his name, as if authority is somehow attached to his name. But he is the independent one, he is the creator, but he's the Lord, and as Lord, he rules over all heaven and earth. So, Van, would you read Psalm 24, verses 1 and 2?
The earth and everything in it, the world and its inhabitants, belong to the Lord, for he laid its foundation on the seas and established it on the rivers.
And if you're willing also, will you read that other verse, Psalm 135, verse 6?
The Lord does whatever he pleases in heaven and on earth, in the seas and all the depths.
So one of the things that I love about the verses that we just read are that they establish this beautiful picture that God is free, he's independent, he's the great I am. He does whatever he wants, and one of the things that he wants and he does is rule over all people and things. He is sovereign down to every detail. And there's a couple aspects that I think we can talk about now. One is that, again, he is the sovereign ruler over all. He has complete authority. But then there's that follow-up point that have we recognized him as our personal Lord? Have we recognized him as our personal king? Put differently, have we submitted to him? So the first question, Van, that I have for you is, because he is Yahweh, Lord over all, how do you respond to that truth?
God being Lord over all creates this claim of universal lordship. He's the sovereign ruler, and so I will respond with trust and I will acknowledge him as such. But it's funny because if you would have asked me that a few years ago before I was a Christian, I would have said, what the heck does that have to do with me?
Right.
And the answer is, and I feel like I'm speaking to my daughter right now, it's because this truth confronts us with a choice. We're forced to make a choice to either repent and trust in Jesus alone, to be in a reconciled relationship with Yahweh the Creator, or choose to go your own way and see how you fare.
Yeah. Yeah, and Van, I don't know if I've ever told you this story, but I remember interacting with my dad once, and I asked him how he viewed God, and he said, well, God is the Lord. And yet, in my mind, I don't think I had the wisdom or the boldness in the moment, but I asked myself, but is he your Lord, Dad? Is he your personal Lord?
Wow.
And did you know, I mean, he died probably 9 or 10 years ago, and to this day I still don't know the answer to that question. I know that he was raised in an environment and taught that God was Lord over all, the Creator, but I still don't know if he was willing to and did turn from his sins and trust in the one Yahweh sent into the world, Jesus Christ, for salvation, or if he thought that somehow he could earn a relationship with Yahweh, the Lord, Yahweh, the Creator. So I think in both of our lives we're just crying out to one another, but I think we're also crying out to all people who are willing to listen is, will you please acknowledge the universal lordship, the universal king of the God who reveals himself by the name Yahweh, but then will you take that step and personally receive him as your Lord, as your King, and then joyfully submit to him forever.